comfortable. We got some great stories that we're going to be talking with you about. Mr. Tigger, you got to come to the front of the room. We got to talk about Big Tigger and his wife, Alicia Brown. Their situation's getting messier. Baby girl got arrested for kidnapping warrants after Big Tigger had gotten arrested over the situation that they had. So two of them got a lot going on, and we're going to get into it. Unfortunately, the young teen Nolan Wells was found deceased. He had went out with his friends for the 4th of July to, I think it's Horn Island, around Mississippi, and he didn't end up coming back with his friends, and unfortunately, he was not found alive, and the family's got more questions than answers. They have now retained attorney Ben Crump, so we're going to talk about what's going on there because there's some new questions, different things going on there. Also going to talk about Lizzo. She had a new album that came out and that ultimately flopped. She talked about the algorithm being the problem, that people aren't seeing music from their favorite artists because of the way the algorithm works. Is that really the problem, or are people just not checking for Lizzo anymore? We're going to talk about it. Let's see what's really going on there. And lastly, we are going to be, talking about, get all my photos up here. Mystikal. He was big in the late 90s, 2000 rapper that came out of New Orleans, and he has recently been sentenced again for rape. He got 20 years, I think, this time. So if he gets out, he's going to be like in his 70s. So I think he's in his 50s right now. So we're going to talk about that because he's clearly got a problem. This is like his second or third charge. So at this point, it's looking like he truly has an issue because it's a pattern. Because one time, okay, but now it's multiple times. There's clearly something going on. So we're going to talk about that. Get comfortable, get your popcorn, get your drinks. Let's get into it. First, we are going to be talking about Mr. Tigger. So Big Tigger, back in the late 90s, 2000s, he was all over BET, anything hip hop related. Big Tigger was a part of it. I think he had a show like The Basement, and that was a really popular show. I never hear nothing going on with this man. I hadn't heard his name in so many years. I had honestly forgot about him. And all of a sudden, he popped up on my radar when his wife, Alicia, a few weeks ago had went online, and she had some injuries on her face, kind of like around this area right here, and she had went on crying and had a little message on there, asked my husband about my face or something to that effect, and then she had tagged Big Tigger in there, and then she had tagged his co-host Francesca on the morning show that he previously hosted. He stepped down from there. I heard he got let go, but I think he stepped down on his own because everything that's been going on in his personal life was starting to overshadow the work, and it was starting to become a distraction. So he stepped down from his morning show hosting that he was doing, and I've heard, I think it was Tasha K that said Frank Ski has now taken over for him. So unfortunately, this whole mess with this family has impacted his job, not to mention, maybe how people view him in the public. Although, some people are questioning his wife, Alicia, because although Big Tigger had got arrested, I think it was for cruelty to kids and aggravated battery, because there are some videos that have been released. You can see that on TMZ about a physical altercation between him and his wife, Alicia. And behind one of the videos, you can hear a voice, which was allegedly her son, that was making some comments to him. And the one that's just got people talking the most is Mr. Tigger. He called him Mr. Tigger as he was yelling at him. And I've seen so many reenactments of that with people saying that in the background. And in no way, shape, or form is DV funny. If you are in that situation, I encourage you to get help and to get out. But the reenactments using that line, I have to tell you, that completely tickled me. That was pretty funny because it's not his real name. That's just his stage name, if you will. But so to address him that way as if it was his name, that was kind of funny. Not the situation itself, just how he addressed him. But it is very unfortunate because who you marry and who you align yourself with is definitely going to have an impact on your life. And I think he's learning that the hard way. I don't know how much you knew about his wife before they got married, but she allegedly came with a history and some baggage. And unfortunately, that baggage has come back to bite her. So this is his wife, Alicia Brown, and she had had previous relationships and she had had children, a child with another person, at least one that I know of. I think it's two because her son may not be with Tigger, but I think they have a child together. And she had a daughter by the name Aaliyah, and she had this child with another guy. And this child had went missing. I want to say I heard about 7 years ago. And she was recently arrested on a warrant for the kidnapping of that child. So we are going to talk about that because that was the plot twist. So she came on the internet crying, kind of insinuating that something had went on between her and Big Tigger. And then when the internet started talking, because that's what you're going to do when a woman comes on crying with a scarred up face, and then you tag him and you tag his co-host, people are going to talk. Then she did a statement. I never said that my husband did anything to me. That was kind of narratives that the internet ran with, but it was a narrative you created that the internet ran with, but that was her statement. And the next thing you know, he gets arrested for that. So it wasn't just what the internet was running with. That was what you had went to the police with clearly. And that's why he was arrested. And then somebody, we don't know who, could allegedly be Big Tigger, could be somebody else, maybe tipped off the cops about where she was, and they found her, pulled her over, and she got arrested for these outstanding warrants that she. Let's take a look at baby girl's mug shot. All right, and we're going to take a little pause for some comments here. Pedro, welcome. Myth, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Gene King, welcome. Stay tuned on the live here. You'll see what's happening. So this is the mugshot for Alicia Brown. This was taken after she was arrested on kidnapping warrants. And let's get into that. Tell you, this story just keeps unwinding and unwinding, and we are going to follow all of it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What are you thinking about this whole situation with Big Tigger and his wife? Do you think it was a mistake for him to get in a relationship with her? It is looking like her coming to the internet to air that stuff out probably wasn't the best decision because it definitely got eyes on them and attention on them that I'm sure he did not want. And this is probably going to be far reaching. I have no doubt that this is just the beginning. Let's get into this story. It's being reported by TMZ. Big Tigger's estranged wife, Alicia Brown, is now facing a whole new set of legal problems. TMZ has learned she's been arrested in Georgia on a warrant related to kidnapping. Hart County Sheriff's Office tells TMZ deputies tracked down Brown's SUV Monday night after receiving a BOLO tied to an outstanding kidnapping related warrants out of Maryland. Authorities say Brown was arrested without incident during a felony traffic stop on Interstate 85, and two young children inside the vehicle were safely recovered. And I believe one of the children is the one that she shares between her and Tigger. I'm not sure who the other child was. Oh, it goes into that. It's the reporting from TMZ. We're told Tigger's kid that he shares with Brown was one of the children in the car. Investigators say the Maryland warrants stem from the 2019 disappearance of a 10-year-old child. Brown faces felony interference with child custody charge in Georgia. And officials say she'll be extradited to Maryland. So they have their own legal situation between each other and the alleged child that was exposed to the verbal and physical situation that occurred between those two. And now she has her own legal situation about maybe allegedly taking the child. I'm not sure if she had anything to do with why the child did not make it back to their father. I'm not even sure if the child is alive. I believe I heard the father say that their daughter Aaliyah is alive, but don't quote me because I haven't really seen too much other than the fact that there was just a disappearance tied to her and her mom. We're going to get back into the story from TMZ. The arrest marks a stunning new development in what's already been an explosive stretch for Brown. Brown was later granted a temporary protective order, claiming she suffered an eye injury during the incident that required stitches at the hospital. She was given temporary custody of the minor children and exclusive use of the family home. Let's see, TMZ then published additional footage earlier Tuesday that appears to show Brown and Tigger wrestling over the cell phone during another heated confrontation. So we are definitely going to be following this story because I have no idea what other twists and turns are going to come. But I tell you, this one, there's always something, and I have no doubt we have not heard the rest between these two and his co-host, Big Tigger's co-host, Francesca, is suing his wife for defamation for her stating that they were having an affair. So she adamantly denies that anything went on between those two. So we're going to be following this story. You will get your updates here on Aries Rose TV. So if you have not already done so, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can find out every time we go live, post videos, shorts, and all of that good stuff. Now we are going to on to our next story here. Zaire Wade, the son of Dwayne Wade, NBA star, got himself into some trouble. He got a felony DV charge, and this is stemming from an incident that took place in June, I think, with him and his girlfriend. So something went down between those two, and he was arrested after the cops arrived there. They got a call about some arguing, some stomping, some disturbance was heard, and people thought, there's something going down in there. You need to go see if everything is okay. It doesn't sound right. And they went in there and they saw the young lady had some lacerations on her face, and it appears that Dwayne Wade's son Zaire was arrested. So let's get into that. Dwayne Wade's eldest son, Zaire Wade, has been charged with, and this is reporting from TMZ, felony related to DV after his recent arrest. Zaire faces one felony charge according to NBC in Los Angeles, NBC4 in Los Angeles, though he was booked on 3 different charges when he was arrested last month in Burbank. So let me know what you think on this situation. Dwayne Wade's family, I know, have been in the headlines for his daughter, who was previously his son, that transitioned into his daughter. And now it looks like his son's got some issues going on here. This is very unfortunate situation. You definitely don't want to have your name out here for nothing like that. You can ask Chris Brown. It's a lot to recover from that. That's one of those situations that can really hurt your career. It doesn't matter who you are or how talented you are. You just don't want that type of stuff. You don't want that type of stank on your name at all. Let's get back into this story. As we told you, Zaire was taken into custody last month after cops were called to a Burbank home around 5:30 a.m. on June 21st after receiving a call about a woman screaming. How loud do you have to be screaming that people got to be calling saying something's going on? Cops say they found Zaire and a woman with lacerations all over her face. Despite her alleged injuries, the woman was not transported to the hospital. Zaire was booked for felony DV, criminal threats, and false imprisonment, and an emergency protective order was issued. Zaire posted a $50,000 bond and was released from jail a few hours later. So we'll be following this story, praying for them. He gets the help he needs and this situation is resolved and they don't run into this in the future. If you got anger issues, it's always better to walk away. You don't want to be dealing with this because sometimes the court of public opinion is a mess and you have legal circumstances and legal repercussions too. Definitely wishing them all the best. Let me know what you think about this in the comments here. We'll be reading them out on the next live, so definitely love hearing what you think on this. And we're going to be talking about Mystikal. So he was one of my favorites back in the day. Hold on, let me fix this. He was one of my favorites for sure. I definitely used to enjoy him, and I loved the music in that late 90s, early 2000s, and he'd be on those club songs. I'd say we didn't know what he was saying. He sounded crazy like 90% of the time, but that was half of the fun. You're like, he was just wild, he was erratic, it was a lot, and it was a good time. But it just, I don't know what happened to him, but I keep hearing about this, and now we're on to the like second or third charge he's had for grape. He clearly has an issue with getting consent, and since he's been convicted, we can say that he's been convicted multiple times, and that is just so sad and disappointing. I don't know what the issue is or why this keeps being a reoccurring issue. And he had a beginning of a song, Danger. And that's just what I feel like when I see him now. That's just what I feel like women should feel like when they see him, given this pattern that he has. And that is just so sad to watch a legend go out like this. And I don't understand what's going on there, but it's definitely disappointing. And it's just crazy how you see in so many people that you used to look up to, dance to their music party, think they're living the life, and you think you want to be them at some point in time. And then later on, you're just hearing about all the flaws and things that are going on. That's like, ooh, no, I wouldn't trade to be you for a million years. And it's really sad. I don't want to be reporting on this particular situation with him, but he did it to himself, and we're going to talk about it. And he got 20 years for that. So we're going to get into this reporting from TMZ, and then we're going to talk about a statement that his son made about him, because I think that's, really appropriate to also address, because this stuff hurts the people that are in your family too. And let's get into this from TMZ. Rapper Mystikal was just sentenced to 20 years behind bars after pleading guilty to raping a woman. The victim in the case described how the musician born Michael Lawrence Taylor brutally sexually assaulted her in his Louisiana home in 2022. It sounds terrible. And she asked the judge to levy the maximum sentence, according to WBRZ. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all, because he clearly has a pattern. He has an issue, and it's probably for the best that he is behind bars, since he clearly has trouble controlling himself. As we reported, the rapper was originally arrested back in 2022 and entered a guilty plea to third-degree rape in a Louisiana courtroom last month under a deal with prosecutors, so he knew he was in the wrong. After the victim told the court Mystikal choked her, punched her, and forcibly raped her, he stood up and said, quote, "If I did that to you, I deserve the max sentence," end quote. Well, I guess the judge agreed. And thank you so much for joining, Mr. Gardner. Greatly appreciated. How is your day going? The maximum sentence was 25 years, and he's going away for 2 decades. Prior to the case, Mystikal was convicted of sexual battery of the infirm in June 2023 and incarcerated for several years until his release from prison in 2010. After leaving prison on that case, Mystikal had to register as a lifetime ex-offender. So, all of that just gone down the drain. Your whole career, everything you worked hard for, you built for, you made some bad choices, you hurt some people along the way, and unfortunately, you got to pay the consequences for that. Best wishes to you. Hope you learned your lesson, but you won't be out in the streets to hurt anybody else. So, that's the good thing. Let me know your thoughts on this. Were you a fan of Mystikal? Are you disappointed that he's had so many issues with this? Let me know your thoughts on that. Now we're going to talk about Lizzo. So the music wasn't hitting like she wanted it to. First of all, she's very beautiful. I love any hairstyle, anything she does. I think she has a beautiful face, and she's got a lot of a good style, good look. She's definitely got that it image. She's got something about her that makes sense on why she's famous. She's got a charisma. She's definitely talented. She's got a beautiful voice. But, you know, she may not be everybody's cup of tea. Everybody may not be feeling Lizzo all the same, and that's okay. But for her music, that's not okay, because that builds on popularity. People liking you, want to listen to you, want to be like you, or they can relate to your music, or your music inspires them. And when it no longer connects with the people you needed to connect to, something is off. So she was on the internet talking about how the algorithm is impacting how artists can get their music out to their fans. That because of the way the algorithm works, people may not even be able to see when they're new, when the artist is releasing new music, which impacts their ability to be able to sell and make their album, track, whatever the case may be, successful. Some people say I mean, the algorithm definitely impacts what people see. I'm not going to say that what she's saying is not real. There is that there, but it may not be 100% of what the problem is on why people aren't seeing Lizzo's music. It may also just be that she doesn't have fans like that, and that the music hasn't caught on to people with any tracks that anybody is really into listening to. I haven't really heard it. I have to say I like Lizzo. If I hear the music come on, I will listen to it. I'm not against her, but I don't intentionally go out to look for her album. I'm not looking for her latest single or any of that. So partially I'm not interested myself in her stuff. If it comes across great, but I'm not looking for music like that anymore. So I don't know. I think people's tastes may just change, and Lizzo maybe it's speed for the moment, but let me know what you think about that. We're going to pick up on the remainder of our stories a little bit later and do a part 2. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, and we'll see